Who would you say is your most overrated team in the East region?
My overrated team, I think is I'm gonna go with Miami as an overrated team. I think Miami
The
has
Miami Hurricanes. Well, as you can see in my bracket, I've got Indiana, UNLV, Butler, and Miami. Let us remind our viewers that this is Miami's first ever ACC title that they captured, and they still managed to pull the 2 seed when they really should have been a 1 seed, and instead they gave it to Gonzaga. You think this team might play with a little bit of fire?
I think they could play in fire.
They could, yeah. Well, and we also have here our scheduling. I guess we call this favorism in the scheduling. As you see here, UNLV in California, both schools aren't very far away from San Jose. Syracuse has to make a long flight out to California, and while Montana doesn't have to travel too far, the UNLV Rebels have been hot all season, and they're going to run right by good old Cal and Syracuse to get on to the Sweet 16. In terms of my most overrated team, I've got Marquette. People have been saying, oh, Buzz Williams and his team, no one's given them any respect this year. Well, for good reason. They're very inconsistent. The fact that they have a 3 seed still questions me a little bit. So they're my most overrated team. So if you're picking your bracket, don't take Marquette. Just saying. And so we move on to the Elite Eight and Final Four. Ben, let's start back in the Midwest.
All right, I have Louisville coming down in Michigan State, and then, in the Midwest. Who do you have?
Midwest? I've got the same thing. I've got Louisville and Michigan State. And moving on to the Final Four, I have Michigan State, and for good reason. They've been playing in the shadow of Indiana, Ohio State, and Michigan all year long, and Tom Izzo does fairly well in the NCAA tournament, as you may notice from years past. Louisville has a great coach in Rick Pitino, Russ Smith, Peyton Siva. They've done a great job leading the team with the guard position. But like I said, it's the Big East, and the Big Ten's been the best conference all year long, and they're finally going to prove it this year. We're going to move down to the West region, where I have Gonzaga facing New Mexico, and the New Mexico team is going to make their way to the Final Four. Ben, who do you have?
All right, in my Elite Eight, in my Final Four, I have Wisconsin and New Mexico, and I got New Mexico go to the Final Four in the West.
So we're in agreement here. You know, people have been talking about Ohio State and how great they've been and all the momentum they have. And you would think that the man who talks about momentum would pick Ohio State. But here's my reasoning for not picking Ohio State. New Mexico is probably one of, and I said Michigan was the most overrated or underrated team. New Mexico is the most underrated team. They play in the Mountain West Conference, which doesn't get as much respect as some of the major conferences, but is starting to get up there. Steve Alford, the ex-Iowa coach, he's been to this tournament before. He knows how it goes, and so is Thad Matta. But they've got a 7-foot center that can not only beat you in the inside, but he can step out and knock down threes. And they've got good guard play, something I don't think Ohio State has. What do you think, Ben?
I mean, they do look good, but I just think they could lose to the Sweet 16. I mean, I don't know how talented they think they will be in the Sweet 16.
Well, we move on here to the South region. Ben, what you got?
All right.
Show the fans.
The South region, I got Kansas and Georgetown in the Southwest, and then Kansas goes to the Final Four.
Well, and here in the South region, I have Kansas and Florida, both squads led by seniors. And I've got Kansas moving on to the Final Four. This may be one of Bill Self's better teams here in recent years. Jeff Whitty does a nice job down low playing defense and backing them down in the lane. They've got Elijah Johnson. Technical difficulties, excuse us. Harley, what do you think? Oh, Harley's busy. Florida, after the way they played in the SEC title game, I just think that Kansas is going to do much better down low, and they've got better guard play than Florida. So, it's a tough call, but I got to send Kansas on. We moved down to the East region. This was my title matchup about 3 weeks ago. Indiana and Miami, and I said Indiana was going to win. To my disappointment, they have to meet in the Elite Eight. But Indiana is led by Cody Zeller, Christian Watford, and Victor Oladipo, who is by far the most exciting basketball player in the college level right now. Did you see that 360 dunk he threw down the other night?
I didn't think I ever saw that.
Oh, you didn't see it?
I didn't remember what
Well, everyone and their brother saw that
Oh,
one.
wow.
Oh, it was big.
Oh, wow.
But that's not the only reason.
Yeah.
Coach Green has commanded the biggest turnaround. You know, think about Indiana about 4 or 5 years ago. They had all those NCAA sanctions, and Coach Green took over, and they were well under 500, and here they are, earned the #1 seed in the tournament, and this team has got a lot of upside. Now, we look at Miami. Oh, they're playing with a little bit of fire under them. Well, this is going to be a tight game, but I think Indiana's been more battle-tested than Miami in a year where the ACC was down, if you'd agree with me. Mm-hmm. And so, that's what I got, Indiana. All right, Benno, who you got in the title game and who's going to win?
All right, in the title game, we got Louisville versus Indiana, and Indiana takes it home.
You got
Big Ten gets a championship.
Well, I got that too. Only I got 2 Big Ten teams in the championship. I think Michigan State over New Mexico because of much more tournament experience on the Michigan State side. And on the other side, I take Indiana over Kansas because although Kansas is led by a lot of seniors, Indiana is coming in, you know, losing early in the Big Ten championship. Their goal at the beginning of the year was to win the national title. They were #1 for a reason, and I don't think they're going to disappoint the fans. And so, in my title, Indiana is going to win. Ben, you got a score prediction.
All right, score prediction. I think Indiana might win by 5 points.
5 points.
How do you think?
Oh, I've got 75-65. That's my final score.
All right.
Folks, we want to remind you, if you haven't filled out your bracket, it's okay. You still have T-minus 16 hours to fill it out. So if you haven't done so already, join in on the madness. It's going to be a great March. As they've said, anyone can win it this year. We're just giving you our advice. And so until the baseball show, this is Cody.